Hello there guys, welcome to one of my live videos, and on this video this morning I am going to be keeping up to date of what's going on with Bruno Fernandes, and I do feel as though that Bruno Fernandes is a great signing for Manchester United. But the question is, what will he bring to Manchester United? Now, I think Bruno Fernandes is a player that can provide goals in midfield, something that Manchester United do need. He can also provide assists. He's also very good at creating chances. So I'm really excited about Bruno Fernandes coming in. Fabio Romano, who's currently an Italian journalist, like I updated yesterday night, he confirmed yesterday that Manchester United put an official bid in. He said that Sporting Lisbon had received the bid, and he said that talks were still ongoing between the clubs. But he did confirm that Bruno Fernandes sometime today is set to fly to Manchester with his agent to undergo a medical, because it did confirm yesterday night that Manchester United had agreed a deal with Sporting Lisbon. So reportedly it says that Ed Woodward and the Sporting Lisbon president have agreed a deal. Sky Sports did confirm yesterday that Man United increased their offer twice for Bruno Fernandes after we'd had our first bid turned down, basically. So reportedly Man United are going to pay around €55 million, with around 25 million in add-ons. So it's going to cost us in total around €80 million. I think €80 million equates to around 68 million, is it, in pounds sterling. The add-ons are based on the appearances of what Bruno Fernandes makes and us qualifying for the Champions League. Well, some of the add-ons anywhere. Obviously, as you all know, Barcelona tried to come in right at the final hurdle to hijack our move for Bruno Fernandes, because a lot of reports were stemming from the Spanish press saying that Barcelona were in talks with Sporting Lisbon for Bruno Fernandes. So Barcelona proposed signing him in the summer, and they were prepared to give him a contract until 2025, but Barcelona, wanted to loan him out to Valencia until the end of the 2021 season, because Barcelona wanted to get a deal over the line for Rodrigo. But I'm actually surprised this has happened, because like I mentioned, Bruno Fernandes to Manchester United, looked dead yesterday afternoon. It looked dead a couple of days ago and that. But Bruno Fernandes has revealed that his preference is a move to Manchester United. So sometime today, he should be officially a Manchester United player. But like I said, we should have signed Bruno Fernandes a while ago. We should have had him on the board, when we played the likes of Liverpool, Burnley. He should actually, been in the stands for the Liverpool game. In the game against Burnley, if he'd have been playing, you could say Manchester United would have beat Burnley if Bruno Fernandes, would have been playing. But, we have been in for him for the entirety of this January transfer window. There's been weeks of negotiations between the clubs. But I did say at the first, the stumbling block was the fee before it's been announced in that, because at the first Man United were not determined to meet Sporting Lisbon's valuation, because Sporting Lisbon, said, they wanted £68 million, and they've remained ruthless over their current valuation. I think now with Barcelona coming in at the last minute, it's probably convinced us to meet Sporting Lisbon's valuation. But he is, like I said, revert back to what I said, he's going to dramatically improve Manchester United. We are seeing him as an adequate replacement for Paul Pogba, because I still think, Paul Pogba will leave Manchester United this summer, basically, in that. And by the way, Solskjaer has revealed that Paul Pogba is desperate to play for Manchester United. He's had his ankle cast removed, but he still remains uncertain when Paul Pogba, will be back fully fit. But, when Paul Pogba and McTominay back as well, Bruno Fernandes is going to blend in with the likes of Paul Pogba and Scott McTominay well in our midfield and that. But yeah, I'm really excited about Bruno Fernandes coming in. We should have actually, signed Bruno Fernandes last summer, because don't forget, last summer we was relentlessly, linked to him, but we didn't get a deal over the line for him. And the main explanation why we didn't get him last summer is because Sporting Lisbon wanted around 70 million. We only valued him at £50 million. Tottenham, City and Liverpool also went in for him last summer. City were actually close to getting Bruno Fernandes last summer at one point. But obviously, when he signs in that, I do believe his shirt number will be revealed. Obviously at Sporting Lisbon he was wearing that number 8 shirt. So what shirt could Man United give him? Could we give him? Is he going to keep the number 8? Is he going to be wearing the number 7? Because we've had quite a few players over the years that have wore that number 7. We had obviously Memphis Depay that wore the number 7. Don't forget, we also had Cristiano Ronaldo that wore the number 7. So we've actually had a few players over the years that have worn that number 7 shirt. There's probably a few other players as well that have worn that number 7 shirt. But I think, Bruno Fernandes, can play in Lingard's position, he can play in Juan Mata's position, and he can play in Andres Pereira's position, so he can actually fulfill that number 10 role. Because obviously, on a regular basis this season anyway, Man United have obviously gone with that 4-2-3-1 formation, where you have to play a number 10 and that. But I think he will do really, really well. During his 2 years or so with Sporting Lisbon, Bruno Fernandes scored 64 goals in 137 appearances in all competitions. So that just indicates how he can score a lot of goals. He also, I think, played around 19 times, was it, for Portugal. And he only extended his contract last year with Sporting Lisbon until 2023. I don't think the personal terms have been agreed as yet. With him flying to Manchester, it said it's subject to personal terms and that, the deal's close to being finalised. But a lot of reports in the Portuguese press a couple of weeks ago said that, the personal terms had already been agreed. I don't think his contract as yet has been sorted out. I presume he'll sign like a 4.5 or a 5-year deal. The club will probably sign a contract until 2025. Bruno Fernandes will also get increases in his wages and that. But, I know that Bruno Fernandes has not played in the Premier League ever up until this point, and this is going to be his first time ever in the Premier League. But like I said, I think he's got the minerals to come and succeed in the Premier League. I think at Manchester United, he can definitely replicate what he's done in his couple of years with Portugal. And I think he also did very, very well when he was in Italy when he was younger. Because when he was younger, he spent the entirety of his career in Italy, did Bruno Fernandes and that. But, I think Solskjaer will be delighted with the signing and that. I think he fits our transfer strategy perfectly as well. Because Solskjaer did still reveal that he still wants to continue the policy of recruiting young players into the club. Like he did do last summer. There's already a lot of young players in the squad as it is now that are developing and trying to improve. And Bruno Fernandes is 25 years of age, so he has still got a lot of years ahead of him. Still a lot of years ahead of him. So, like I said, should be official sometime today when he's had his medical and all of that. He won't be playing in the game tonight against Man City in the Carabao Cup semi-final second leg, because obviously that's come to soon for Bruno Fernandes. But I do presume he will be making his Premier League debut in our game against Wolves the weekend. So hopefully, he can become a succession at Manchester United, can Bruno Fernandes. And he is our first signing of this year. He is our 4th signing overall under the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer era. So Solskjaer has now made 4 signings in 3 transfer windows, which is, of course, very, very good. So it's around £68 million in total, like I mentioned. We spent nearly £150 million last summer on Daniel James and Wan-Bissaka and on Harry Maguire. So we spent around, something like, we have spent over £200 million now since Solskjaer came in, including the signing of Bruno Fernandes and that. But I'm actually, relieved that we have got him on the board and that. But we are all aware, that more signings are needed than Bruno Fernandes. We know he isn't enough for Manchester United. He's an attacking midfielder and wanted an attacking midfielder. We've got that attacking midfielder now. I think also Man United need a defensive midfielder. Obviously, looking at the possibility of getting a fullback in, because obviously, Ashley Young left earlier on in the window. He went to Inter Milan for £1.5 million after he endured 8.5 years at Man United. Also, too, you've got Luke Shaw that's struggling for consistency and has sustained a lot of injuries as a Manchester United player. I know Brandon Williams has come onto the horizon, has done well since he's come onto the horizon, but he is still inexperienced. So I think we'll probably look to get a left back in the summer. And I think we also need a striker. It'd be beneficial if we could get someone on loan until the end of the season before this January transfer window shuts. Obviously, we've got Rashford out with injury, which is a concern. Rashford, I think, is going to be out for the next couple of months. As you all know, he has sustained a double fracture in his back as Marcus Rashford. And, some of the blame stems from Solskjaer. He should have never brought him on against Wolves. And obviously, if he hadn't brought him on against Wolves, then probably his injury, would have never cured. But this injury Rashford's got is very serious. It's totally comparison to the one that I had earlier on in the season. But like I said, Rashford's been one of our best players this season. He's scored goals for fun, 19 goals in all competitions this season. 63 senior goals for the club since he broke into the senior squad back in 2016. So he's been very, very good for us, and he's definitely a long-term solution for Man United, and he's definitely one of the players I would be determined to keep. There's a few players at the club I'd be determined to keep. I would obviously still get rid of more players. I think in the summer we'll be looking to get get rid of more players in that. We'll be focusing on trying to get more signings this summer. We'll focus on getting rid of Paul Pogba and that, because players we're selling this summer, if we do, which I do believe we will anyway, obviously, we're going to generate money for that, basically. So we need to get someone in on loan, because obviously, Rashford is out with injury. Islam Slimani, there's still reports saying that, we could get him on loan before this January transfer window does shut. It also says that Tottenham have inquired about his availability because also, they've got Harry Kane out with injury for quite a while. So this is the main explanation why they're in for him. Leicester give their overarching view on it, and they've confirmed that Manchester United or Tottenham will have to pay a loan fee of around £4 million to get Islam Slimani in. Islam Slimani has confirmed that he does want to leave Monaco. He wants to end his loan spell with Monaco. He's notified Monaco about this. So if Man United could get him in, I would be very, very excited. I don't really know much about Islam Slimani. I know before he was at Monaco, he had loan spells with Newcastle and Fenerbahce. I don't think he scored one goal for Newcastle, and before that, he was with Leicester, obviously, because he's obviously overall a Leicester player, but he's on loan Monaco. Leicester paid around 28 or 29 million pounds for him from Sporting Lisbon back in 2016. He is the age of 31. Maybe you can say his age is an element of concern, but I still believe he would be able to provide Manchester United with goals and that. I know we've obviously got the likes of Martial there. Martial has had a few injuries this season. I think he's decent, but I think he's totally comparison to Rashford. Daniel James has been below par in the last month or so. So, yeah, we've got to get a striker in, definitely. So, there's still more deficiencies in the squad that do need to be addressed. But, Solskjaer says, we will not make signings for the sake of it. And he says, it's difficult, to always get the players that you want. But like I said, despite the fact that we've been inconsistent for the last 6 or 7 years, I still think, we can attract players to the elite level because, the main explanations why this is because we've got the resources and the backing of the club to get the players that we want. We're also one of the biggest clubs in the world. We are the most successful team in England historically, reflecting on the amount of titles that Man United have won. And I did say, didn't I took that into account, that our recruitment from now on has got to improve because our recruitment policy is very, very poor. Don't forget, Rio Ferdinand was recently talking about how poor our recruitment policy is. Solskjaer said, it's not the right time for us to discuss the club's recruitment policy. But it's a good start, getting Bruno Fernandes on the board. So then hopefully now we can look to build on that. But I do believe he's going to do really, really well at Manchester United. He's going to do really, really well in that. And like I said, I think, Man United need to persist with a back three anywhere. That's my opinion on that. Bruno Fernandes, still presume, would be able to get into the team even with a back three. Because I think, us going with three at the back, seems to suit our standards. even though we haven't gone with it a lot this season, went with it in the game against Tranmere when we won 6-0. We went with it in the game against Liverpool early on in the season in the league when we drew 1-1. And I think we went with 3 at the back against Partizan Belgrade, well, in one of the games against Partizan Belgrade in the group stage, and it seems to suit our standards, to be quite honest with you. So I think, like I said, tonight against Man City, we should go with 3 at the back. We really, really should do that, because I don't think that 4-2-3-1 formation seems to suit our standards. We have been going with it on a regular basis, so this season, I don't think we've used the 4-3-3 for a while. I think quite a lot of times in that 3-month period when Solskjaer was the interim manager, we went with that 4-3-3 formation. Probably we may revert back to 4-2-3-1 tonight, but for my own perception, I think we should persist with a back 3, definitely. And you've got 2/3 of Manchester United fans saying that we should go with the back 3 against Manchester City tonight and that. So, yeah. So, very, very delighted, with Bruno Fernandes anywhere. But I think, maybe, we need to, we need to see a variety of changes at the football club. Like I said, we need to still get Ed Woodward out. We need to get the Glazers out. A lot of United fans are protesting Ed Woodward and the Glazers. Of course, some United fans do believe that, the Glazers could end up, selling the club. Obviously, they've got to probably, obviously, sell it to the right person. Definitely, that's very, very imperative if they do sell the club, the Glazers. He said a while back that the Glazers didn't have any intentions of selling the football club. But yeah, we've got to get the Glazers out and Ed Woodward, because I don't like the way the football club has been run in the last 6 or 7 years. I think, we need to get a new board in, because our board have been a liability for several years. So there is fundamental issues at the football club. Obviously, I still think we need a change of management. There's some aspects of me that credit Solskjaer. We've had some good games this season when we've done well, and we've done actually, really, really well against elite opposition, but we haven't really replicated that against lower opposition. Maybe in some games Solskjaer's got it right, and I also credit him because he's brought Bruno Fernandes in, plus he's got a lot of trustworthy in his young players. But my element of concern about him is that he's, for me, not good enough to be a manager. He's too inexperienced. I've got the same perception on Michael Carrick and Kieran McKenna. They're also too inexperienced. But I say Carrick and Solskjaer were both very, very good players. So Solskjaer as a manager has not got that proven pedigree. So I think, Solskjaer as a manager to a player is totally comparison, because I thought he was a fantastic player for us. Enjoyed 11 years at Man United. But who knows now? He may change things around, and I'm hopeful, that Solskjaer, does this. And, now with Bruno Fernandes coming, can he save Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's managerial tenure at the football club? Well, I hope Bruno Fernandes can definitely now do this. And Solskjaer, has been at Manchester United now for 13 months, so he has been here over a year, and he's aware that he's got many expectations to exceed in his second year at the football club, and that, he's been permanent boss now for around 10 months. I think Man United gave him the job too soon. Maybe we should have waited a bit longer, maybe we should have waited longer, to see if he would be the right candidate. And he's got 2.5 years left on his deal. He will see the 2.5 years out, if things do dramatically improve at Man United. But if it doesn't, I can't see him seeing out his 2.5 year deal at the football club. And obviously, if we did decide to sack Solskjaer any time within this 2.5 year period, obviously we'd have to pay to get rid of Solskjaer and that. And, can Man United afford it? Because don't forget, we're still paying the salaries of Moyes, Van Gaal and Jose Mourinho's off, despite the fact, that they've been sacked by the football club. But our board have confirmed they're determined to back Solskjaer. They said they were determined to back him in this January transfer window. They're also determined to back him in the summer. So probably more or less, the club are probably determined to give him another season, because this is his first full season as Manchester United manager, Solskjaer and that. Obviously, if we can get top 4, and if we can get some silver on the board, I will be very, very delighted. And then, that can create a platform and it can move Manchester United forward then. So hopefully Manchester United can do that. because we are still in that top 4 race. We are only 6 points behind Chelsea at the moment. The only main explanation why we're in that top 4 race, though, is because Chelsea have been so inconsistent. Winning the Europa League's imperative, because that's another route to Champions League football, plus silverware on the board. And the FA Cup now is a priority for us, because we are now into the 5th round of the competition. We've won that 12 times, so we're the second most successful team in FA Cup history. Obviously, because we are second. We are just one FA Cup behind Arsenal, basically, but we haven't won it since 2015. But even if we don't win it, it would be good for us, to enjoy a good cup run like we did last season. But in terms of silverware, that is very, very imperative indeed. I still don't think we're going to mount any kind of title challenge up, at least for the next couple of years. In that, there again, it's dependent on what players Manchester United recruit in. But I probably, do believe that our aspirations will be that top 4, at least in the next couple of seasons. We haven't won the league since 2013, which is like 7 years ago now. So, I hope it doesn't take us another 30 years, like it has done with Liverpool. Of course, Solskjaer said he's very convinced it won't take Man United another 30 years to win another Premier League title and that. But, like I said, for us to be back being competitive, we've got to get the right calibre players in and that. And, Bruno Fernandes is one of them right calibre players, but more signs are needed. Like I mentioned yesterday, I think we need to get 4 signings this summer, definitely. And, like I said, we've overpaid for players in recent years. We overpaid for Harry Maguire, £80 million. Most expensive defender in the world, second most expensive sign at the club. But despite the fact we overpaid for him, I still think he's addressed our defensive deficiencies well as Maguire. He's had the few bad games here and there, wasn't so good against Burnley, but, revived himself against Tranmere. He can play the ball well out from the back, his distribution's good. And I think it was the right decision for Man United, giving Harry Maguire the captaincy on a permanent basis. He got given the captaincy, following the departure of Ashley Young. But I think he's done really, really well. So we probably don't even need a centre-half, because we've obviously got Lindelof and Harry Maguire, who are first-choice centre-backs and do complement each other well. Harry Maguire's done well. We obviously overpaid for Matic, who we paid £40 million for. He's so inconsistent. I've got a lot of element of concerns about him. We overpaid for Fred, £50 million. I'd be determined to keep Fred. He's not at that level. He hasn't emulated that level as yet, but I would still be determined to keep him because he's rejuvenated himself recently. I'd keep McTominay because he did well before he got injured, and more creativeness will be in that midfield when Pogba and McTominay are back anywhere. And, we overpaid for Paul Pogba, £89 million. Has only managed 8 appearances this season because he's missed the vast majority of our games this season due to injury. Like I said, he's had his ankle cast removed like Solskjaer revealed. He was initially out for 3 months, then made a couple of substitute appearances, then all of a sudden got another injury. Solskjaer confirmed this injury is total comparison to the one that he had before. But we overpaid for Paul Pogba because the vast majority of his performances at Man United have been totally comparison to his ones, when he was at Juventus, because he did enjoy 4 good years in Turin. I think Pogba will stay until the summer, then he'll leave in the summer, and we can still generate a substantial amount for him. We can still get a good £100 million for Paul Pogba in the summer. I think last summer, Real Madrid were relentlessly linked to him. Real Madrid wanted him last summer, and last summer his preference was a move to Real Madrid and that. And he did basically say, he wanted to leave Manchester United last summer, because last summer we wanted 150 million. Real Madrid were not determined to meet that. So I think he'll go in the summer with Paul Pogba. But like I said, we're one of the richest clubs in the world. We've got the highest wage bill in the Premier League and that. So we can obviously, afford to overpay for players and give, players substantial contracts. Because look at the amount of money that's been spent at Manchester United in the last 6 or 7 years. We've spent nearly £1 billion on recruiting new players in, obviously. This is, what Manchester United have done. We've spent a hell of a lot of money. So, yeah, and, so I am still determined to back Solskjaer for however long he's our manager, and, we haven't really got the structure to keep sacking managers because we're not really known for the sacking football club anywhere. We've already sacked 3 managers since the Ferguson era. Obviously, Moyes went, Van Gaal went, and Jose Mourinho went, basically. But we need to get rid of more players. Revert back to what I said. I think Jones needs to go. Marcus Rojo needs to be moved on. You know, I think Solskjaer's confirmed now that Rojo won't be leaving. He says Rojo's been working hard to fitness. And he said that, yeah. I think Matic needs to leave. Lingard, I still believe needs to leave, but if he can rejuvenate himself, then my perceptions will change because he had a good game against Tranmere. I think Chong's set to leave on a free transfer at the end of the season. He's going to go to Juventus or Inter Milan. Some people say Luke Shaw needs to be moved on, maybe so too does Pereira. So we still need to see more departures at Manchester United, definitely, because there's still deadwood at the football club. There's still deadwood at the football club and all of that, like I mentioned. But like I said, you know, we've got 2 big games coming up, you know, Man City tonight and then Wolves at the weekend in the Premier League, which is going to be Bruno Fernandes' debut. And it's going to be very, very difficult. These are going to be very, very difficult games, you know. Solskjaer says for us to have any chance of getting past City, you know, we've got to, you know, produce a performance like we did do against PSG last season. That was Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's most iconic moment as manager. And, you know, who knows, because we did beat City early on the season 2-1. We did beat them 2-1 in the league at the Etihad, so who knows? Anything can happen. This is our 3rd Manchester derby this season. Solskjaer will, of course, make changes from the 6-0 win against Tranmere, of course, definitely. So we'll see. So anyway, guys, drop your comments, likes on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always, and take care. God bless. See you all again very, very soon.